Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of Maximum Octane. I am over here geeking out today because I know I always say I'm excited, but there's some days I'm even more excited than ever to have my show going on and my guests. And joining me today are two people that I absolutely just love, and that is Rosa Anderson and Laura Ritch. Hello, ladies.
Hi,
how are you?
Hi, good.
So
we're so excited.
You know, the popular verbiage in business now is there's just so much to unpack with everything that you have going on. And so I'm going to kind of speed date almost through a couple of things and then get to the business. But I want to make sure everybody knows that Rosa and Laura will be back because there are so many amazing dynamics to what they have going on that I want to have an episode on each of those things. So first of all, you're sisters, yes, and you look like twins. And so Rosa, you just shared with me that you're the taller one. And
yes,
so
I'm just going to add in there, Kim, that's because she wears heels.
Because she wears the heels.
Why she's taller. Yeah.
So Rosa, how tall are you without heels?
I'm 5'1.5".
Without heels. And so
yes,
you wear, I have seen you, and it doesn't matter if you're horseback riding or trekking down a mountain or fishing, you know, the big high heels, because your husband is how tall?
He's 6'4".
6'4". So is that part of the reason for the?
Yeah, and I've always wore heels, but that is a huge part. But I will be on a horse with wedges every time. I have wedges on all the time.
And I'm more of a creature of comfort. So I don't necessarily wear my heels all the time, but I am also 5'1.5", 0.5, extra little half.
Yeah.
Kind of like, pie. It kind of keeps going on.
So one of you is 5'1".
Yeah, we are.
And one's 5'1.5" or 0.5. Is that without heels? Okay. And then just because we talked about how tall Leon is, Rosa's husband, how tall is your husband, Laura?
My husband's just shy of 6 foot.
6 foot. Okay. So that's quite a difference as well. All right. So both of your stories are so fascinating. And I, again, definitely come back because we have working with siblings, families, and how do we set up who's in what lane and not kill each other over Thanksgiving dinner. And we have, Laura, you're a veteran. I mean, you're a veteran. You met your husband in the military. You then became a military spouse and raised children and went all over. And Laura, you were a nurse for years. And I mean, Rosa, you were a nurse for years, right? And then led. So a couple things I just want to point out. This story is crazy with this because Rosa, you own and operate 2 automotive repair shops with your husband, Leon, which is Integrity Auto in Belvedere and also South Beloit, Illinois. So I think I said that right. Did I say that right? South Beloit. Leon's trying to grow the business with you alongside as well of how do we expand our footprint? How do we increase our productivity? How do we do this? And you and Laura, who help run it, are like, hey, you know what? We don't care about that anymore. We want to have a salt cave. Because I remember the conversation on a weekly coaching call with Leon of, they want to open a salt cave. So it's like, what? So,
and that's exactly how it went down.
Yeah. So like a salt cave. So how does that, is that, and he's like, we're out looking everywhere, we're whatever. And so then a few weeks or months later, I'm like asking, how's that going? And well, I guess it's going to be at the shop because we couldn't find a cave anywhere. And so this thing. So how we'll cover in another episode of different ways to expand your profit centers and all. And you don't have to just do it in the automotive space, but how did the two of you come up with the idea and to torture poor Leon with we need to put a salt cave in the shop? How did this come about?
It started off with like you said, Laura's in the military, and I would travel to wherever location she was at. So we would go visit, and we would always find some fun stuff to do. When we went out to North Carolina, we went to a salt room and never heard of it. We just went, we brought our girls with and we had fun. We drank some wine. We went to the salt room and we left and we felt wonderful. I go, man, I feel so good. I just feel, Laura was like, I have so much energy. And I felt like I just wanted to go relax. And so then we did it again. We met up and we did it again. And then I looked it up and told her, do you know how many benefits this has in here? And started just looking up all the medical benefits, all the health benefits of it. And we just were nonstop. We were obsessed with it. So
you became serial salters at this point. Okay.
We did. We were sitting there and it started off kind of like a more of a playfulness, like, well, when you move home, we're going to do this and we're going to, let's think of a name. Let's do it. So we had a name.
Yeah, we named it
4 years, probably 5 years before we actually even opened the room. And so we went through and Rosa was actually making a list going, this would benefit our mom. This would benefit you. This would, benefit Leon. And we were going through the whole list on the whole family on how this would be good for our wellness. And there was nothing around where we live within about 2.5 hours. So, to make it part of our wellness routine, we had to do it ourselves.
Then bringing it back to Leon, we tell him, and he's always like, honey, whatever makes you happy. He's very, very much like, happy wife, happy life. He really is, but he doesn't get it. He is so analytical. So we had to invite him to go with us, and we educated ourselves. We went to all the SALT conventions. Everything that we could do to learn everything about the benefits, we took him along. And he looked like a sore thumb in there, but
he did.
He's taking notes and he's adding up, how much this costs and all this stuff, and he's got to figure it out. By the time we left, he was sold on it because
let's do it.
He goes, I get it now, but he never got it before. But once we hit the numbers and what we hit, he got it. And then he had to reel us in a little bit because we wanted the cave, we wanted the destination place, and nobody out here knew what it was. So we had to, how we educated ourselves, we had to educate people in our community about it. So he gave us this weird idea to put our salt room in an automotive shop. And we were like, no.
Yeah, it wasn't embraced at first.
No way. This is not even happening. What are you thinking? And we both hated it. We hated it.
We're like, that's an idea.
Yeah.
And so
because nothing's more relaxing or says zen or destination than pulling up with, in an automotive repair shop with air wrenches going and everything. Okay.
Yeah. But, as we got talking to him and we started talking about it more and realizing, like Rosa said, people in our area just weren't familiar with what salt rooms were and what they could do for you. We thought, what, he was right about starting small, educating people, getting them to come in, see it, try it, and then, building from there. So we had a lot of obstacles going into the automotive shop as far as soundproofing and getting people to come in and say, no, you are in the right place. Come on back.
How many phone calls did you get? How many phone calls did you get that said, the Google's taking me into Integrity Auto Care? I don't know where I am.
Every day.
And to convince, Lee, the service writer at Integrity, to convince him to do the stinky maintenance on Mondays and Tuesdays when we weren't open.
Yeah. Didn't fly very well with them, but we did. It worked out for 2 years. Yeah.
And,
all right.
And it was the best decision we made to start.
Fantastic. So the name you came up with is Salt and Soul. And so there's going to be a link to that in all of Laura and Rosa's Facebook and Instagram and all. And if you want to have a smile on your face, you definitely want to watch some of their videos and the things they do. Because you guys are just great together. You can tell not only are you siblings, but you actually enjoy each other's each other's company for sure. So all right, we're in the automotive, and so in phone calls with Lee in the beginning too, is like, where's I'm like, why are you behind on this? Well, Laura used to do that, but now she's in the salt room and we can't, so your business affected my coaching. I just want you to know. And then it got to, well, there's no parking because everybody's coming in for the salt room. And so I was like, good for them. You go, girls. And so it's kind of fun to watch all of that. So let's take a minute because there's probably listeners that are like, what the hell is a salt room or what are the benefits? Let's chat about that a little bit. And then I have like a bunch of other questions for you.
Good. Well, salt therapy is an all natural, holistic option for wellness. It really is very simple where you go into a room, you sit back and just relax, take a nap, and just breathe. The salt we use is a pharmaceutical grade salt. It's 99.99% pure sodium chloride. It is put into a machine called a halo generator. This is what actually makes it an active salt room. So we put it into the machine, it grinds it up into tiny little pieces, and it's dispersed out into the air. So when you are breathing in this salt, it comes in like a dry aerosol. You breathe it in and it works on a cellular level. It's very absorbent. It's antibacterial. It's anti-inflammatory. So it works on a cellular level, opening up your nasal passages, your bronchial passages, going down into your lungs, attaching into any mucus that you have going on, helping break that up and helping you expel that easily. Salt is amazing for respiratory, for skin, and for emotional health. So it is very beneficial and everybody can benefit from it. And it's safe for all ages.
One of the things that we've seen, especially since the pandemic, is a lot of people are turning to more natural remedies and cures. And there's been a real movement of that over the years before the pandemic. But really, I noticed an uptick in that after that, because everybody was like, I don't want to get sick. How do we prevent this? Where do we go? What can we do that's safe? And with, as you were saying, with the salt, that's actually has an antibacterial effect to it. And so you don't have to worry about the normal things. Like it's not the same as you go to a movies with other people that are sick or whatever when you go in there, right? So both of you have health issues to some degree that this you found really have helped both of you. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Good. Yeah. So we, when I left nursing because I had some medical issues going on, and that's how I landed in the automotive field. Leon felt pity on me. He wanted to give me something of worth to do while I was recuperating, and I was just taking a breather from nursing. And they still don't know what was wrong with me. They were ruling out chronic fatigue syndrome, MS, Lyme's disease, and I checked out everything. So what I did was I took a little break and I concentrated on holistic diet, self-care, and salt therapy really helped me. I'm not saying it cured me, but I'm telling you, something changed in me. I was dragging my leg. I could hardly walk. I was like how Leon was walking. That's how I was walking. And they couldn't figure it out. And that's why we decided to make a lifestyle change and focus on holistic.
Yeah.
And
the funny thing was the same time Rosa was going through all of this, I was we were totally different places across the United States. Yeah. And I was having the same symptoms. Mm-hmm. We were going through the same, symptoms going through this. Her doctor was telling her all of this stuff and she was ruling it out. My doctor was clear on a different page, telling me what was going on. I do have autoimmune disease. I was diagnosed with that. Yeah. But I, have a lot of side effects and stuff from it. And the salt therapy has been huge for me, because one of the biggest side effects that I have is inflammation. Mm-hmm. And I just get so stiff where it's so hard for me to move. Everything just kind of tightens up. And when I'm not doing my regular salt sessions, I can just feel it. And it has made a huge impact on my life. So it's funny how all of the symptoms kind of, that cross each other, but
a lot of that is the foods that we eat. the more that you watch and do research, everything in our environment and the foods you eat and the chemicals that our food is grown with, and all different things of inflammation and things that people didn't ever suffer from, allergies, different things. So when you say you're a regular salt therapy, when you miss one, you feel a difference. How often do you recommend that people take advantage of salt therapy?
It's different for everyone. We have some people who come in and do it more of kind of a leisurely thing where it's a fun, family event or, day with the girls kind of a thing. And then we have people who come in and are actually working on their health. I like to go in at least twice a week, and I really feel a difference. A lot of our regulars are coming in 2 to 3 times a week. But we also have people come in, once a week, once a month. And it really is what your body is telling you. We always recommend everybody to go in and kind of get started a couple times a week to really feel the difference and to detox and to be able to see what that salt is doing for you. And then, just listening to your body.
I've heard some parents talk about with children, taking their children there because they suffer from allergies or other things, and they don't want to necessarily give them a bunch of medicine. And if you give your kids medicine, this is not a who should do what, but just in general, right? That some parents felt that was not the best course of action. They didn't want to have their children on so many medications because it affected schoolwork, attention, other things. And they've turned to things like I've specifically heard on the salt therapy, and that's helped with allergies and other things. Do you see a lot of people coming in for that?
Oh my gosh, we do. We have kids that come in with allergies, asthma, with colds, and they'll come in and they'll start draining. They just, whatever's the congestion you have going on in your sinuses, they'll start draining, and they don't even have to put them on like decongestants, things like that. By all means, we're not saying don't follow what your doctor says, because we are not a medical facility, but honestly, it totally helps. If you didn't have to take some type of over-the-counter medication and you could just come in for a half hour and just play in the salt, and you don't even know you're having a salt session. The children are just playing with shovels and buckets, and it feels like they're on a sandy beach, and all of a sudden their sinuses are cleared. They're able to sleep better at night. And, we have kids coming in with autism. We have a group of mothers that have autistic children, and they'll bring their children in. And we had a dad call us and said, I don't know what witchy stuff you guys are doing there, but my child has been focused and has not been unruly. Well, I don't know what words, it was kind of like that, for 3 days in a row. So I'm buying one of your package deals that you have going on. Yeah. And he sends his wife and the son, and they come in at least once a week. Yeah. And it's usually on a Sunday, because then he prepares for school for Monday during the week. But we've heard such good feedback.
Yeah. One of my favorites is we have a young man who comes in who he suffers from a lot of anxiety. He's depression, bipolar, lots of different things going on. And he has been coming in regular for his sessions. And he told us, he said, when I come in, he goes on a daily basis, he says, my insides just shake on a normal basis from his anxiety. He's always just feeling shaky on the inside. And he said, when I come in, he says, my insides are soft.
That's how
that's amazing.
And I just almost cried. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing to think about this. And, here he's a young man, preteen, and he's telling us, I feel good when I come in. He can feel this in his own body. Doesn't matter what else is going on. This gives him a sense of calm,
That's amazing.
Yeah. We both were just like, oh my God, he's this big 15-year-old boy on the football team. And he, good for him for taking that initiative to come do this. And he does it. Yeah, it's amazing. We love the kids that come in, and we do have a lot of people that come in, the young teenagers with mental health issues, with anxiety and stress and PTSD, triggered trauma, things like that. And we're not saying they come in because we're advertising that. They'll come in and tell us these things right at the desk afterwards, and said, this is the most I felt so relaxed, and I could actually just calm my mind. And we're just like, oh my God. So these are things we're not like advertising. These are things that they're saying to us that make us feel so good about what we do every single day. We just, I just love it. Makes me teary-eyed thinking about, because I know who these people are, and it's made a difference in their lives. It really has.
That's amazing. Anytime you can help anybody feel at peace, even if it's just for a moment, and for whatever reason, whether it's physical or mental or whatever, that they're finding peace there, that the feeling of it is what's important. So self-care. So, I had asked both of you about an actionable step, my actionable step my listeners can take to enhance their life or business. And you both said self-care 100%. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, regardless of what your business is and what you're doing, taking that moment to step back and just make sure you're taking care of yourself, whether it's just taking a couple of deep breaths, walking around the building to clear your head, whether you have a hobby or, you come in for a salt session, whatever it is, just to take those few minutes for yourself to clear your head and refocus is so important, because if you're not taking care of yourself mentally, physically, you're no good for anyone else. You've got to be, priority. That's right.
I love that you shared that, because in the world today, there's so much pressure on everybody to multitask and achieve all these amazing things and be a super parent and super spouse and super best friend and super family member, and just all of these things that I think people feel guilty today having any downtime or doing something for themselves. They feel selfish or almost shamed into, oh my gosh, you're sitting on the couch for 10 minutes. What's wrong with you? There's all these things that you have to do. So I think it's so important. And I'm really glad that you shared that. You've moved out of the automotive repair shop, which has been very good for them because they have parking back. Obviously it's good for you. You're educating your town and the surrounding people about the benefits. So there are things you had to cut out of your life, right, to become more productive. And so did I read that right? That one of the unproductive habits you have was listening to drama-filled podcasts in the morning? That's how you would start out your day, with murder podcasts?
Yeah, I love murder podcasts, murder mystery, serial killers. Yeah, I totally am. I think I wanted to be a forensic pathologist in my past life. I want to solve murders. Yeah, I totally did. I listened to it. So did Laura. Yeah. Don't you even act like you're innocent?
I know. I can name off at least my top three.
Yeah.
But, although I've listened to, both of us listen to podcasts and, our audibles and all these things, and always put, information in. And both of us had sat down and we were kind of thumbing through what we were listening to. And we're like, we've got to remove this negative junk, because that's what fills you. And you kind of, you kind of start to feel like that and kind of get drugged down a little bit. You got to fill your life with positivity.
And we are positive people. Yeah, it's not like we were negative and thinking about murder all the time. But
so could there be a body part in the salt, or no, just kidding. So that's how you got into salt, because you found out the forensic benefits of covering a crime trailer.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to think about, like, in the morning, because when I'm getting ready and putting on my makeup, I try to listen to positive things. I'm doing reading a book right now, or listening to Kevin Elko from Super Conference, Dr. Elko, called The Sender. And so I'm listening to that every morning, and it just makes me feel positive and hopeful. And, I'm pretty cheerful anyway, but I'm trying to think, like, I think if I started out in the morning listening to murders, I'd want to be like punching people by the time I got on my first call. I don't know. And I know a lot of people.
I was going to sleep listening to him for a while, and I'm like, I got to switch that up a little bit.
Did it give you nightmares?
We totally took them out, and we decided, what are we going to put in? And we put in like meditation music. We have some organization stuff for us. I mean, we really did. We changed it. It was a joke at first, but we did it. And it really has. It really has made a difference. I do miss my murder podcast a little bit, but really not that much. This is wonderful. I've learned so much. And
That to say you can't ever listen to them again. And I think that's where people get like, oh my gosh, I have to give up whatever forever. But it's about balance, right? And looking at what helps you set the tone for your day and what brings you, to your business goals and your personal goals and your dreams, right? Does this help you get a step closer and it's okay and fun to indulge in things that don't every now and then. We can't always be like, oh my gosh. So that's wonderful. And one of the other things that I think that you both shared is very exciting about the Salt and Soul is the collaboration with other small businesses now and getting to know you're dealing with yoga teachers and Reiki and therapists and gym owners. And so what has that been like to open yourself up to new businesses and just form a community to support each other?
Oh my God. So we didn't know we were going to collaborate, but what happens is we had people come in using the salt room for themselves for self-care. And we like to take notes on our customers so that we fully know them. We know when they walk in again, we can pull up their pop-up notes and we know who they are. And this one mentioned in conversation, because we chit-chat a lot, that she's a therapist. And then pretty soon she comes in again and she goes, man, I feel so good. I'm so stressed out. I was so stressed out. She goes, what do you think about having a therapy session in here? Can I bring my clients here? How awesome would this be to bring my client in here in this environment and have a session? And we're like, well, I mean, we can't advertise it, but if you want to rent the room and do this, pretty soon we're collaborating with therapists. Now they're going to be paying for the sessions like normally. We're profiting off of that. And they're having their therapy session in a private room where they're getting, their mental health needs met, but they're also having the salt therapy and the color therapy and the sound therapy all in the same process. And we've been lucky enough where we are we have several people that from the mental health industry who come to us, and that we've had different opportunities to do things there. But we're working with one of the charter schools now to apply for a grant to get students that are in the high school to come out with their therapists and have both events for group sessions, whether it's for their self-care needs or anti-bullying class or the individual private session, but to be able to work on those emotional needs and have that grant covered for these high school students and for teachers and be able to, and it's still, something that is very dear to our heart with the mental health awareness and everything happening all year long, not just 1 month. And it's still profitable for us. We're looking at, taking small businesses and implementing these techniques and to be able to have the facility available to help these kids. Right. And it really is amazing. So,
I love it. I'll tell you, it just fills my heart with joy because I adore both of you. I've watched this from the beginning of all of the, like us shared. And when we first started talking about Leon telling me, yes, Rosa, Laura, what is talking? And, Leon, this was huge because both of you were such a huge part of the business. I mean, it was like a lot. So wonderful that you all looked down the line and made decisions that were good for everybody. And so again, I want to have you back on there because that in itself is an episode of two. Many times we stay stuck at somewhere, a business or doing something because we don't want to let the person down. And, but you have to make your own path, right? So I really thank you so much for joining me. I am a big fan of salt therapy and I love my even salt lamp in my house. And I really love I don't know if you're doing it, but I have packages I go for the salt baths where you just float and fall asleep and that as well. So if you have not tried it, I recommend that you look up for a salt therapy place or room in your area. And I have all the links that'll be on there, but will you be doing things online at all? I know you're starting to work with different people. Will there be any classes online or anything that you'll be participating in?
We haven't started any classes online. Most of it's been in person at this point. We've been doing, Reiki, and we are looking to bring in some like guided meditation and
We do
oil
drumming,
classes and drummings and things like that. Most of them are in-person events.
Gonna be in person.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, still, they need to all check it out because it might inspire them to open their own salt room wherever they're at, or to get information about it. And I know that the two of you are wonderful. So if anybody reached out to you, you would be happy to answer questions for them,
Absolutely.
whether it's about getting therapy or about talking your business partner into putting a room in the back of the business, wherever.
I'm going to tell you that even though, it was odd, and we would always tell people, it's weird, but let's just talk about this for a second. The way we were able to get people to come in and drop their card off and leave their keys at the front desk and then come back and see us was amazing.
Yeah, it worked out great.
I've watched it from the beginning. I think it's amazing. I think as an industry, just in general, the automotive, we have to get out of our little silos and not be closed-minded to anything that could enhance the experience for our customers, internal and external. So what a wonderful opportunity is to do something like this, or something with health benefits in conjunction with your automotive repair shop or whatever business that you have. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will get you a link so we can get you back on there, because we have a lot of other stuff to dig into. So make sure you check them out. Check them out on TikTok and everywhere, because their little episodes are just delightful and will make you smile. So thank you both so much. Everybody stay safe, make good choices, stay inspired, and I will be back next week. Bye.
Thank you, Kim.